So Pevonedistat is a first-in-class small molecule inhibitor of the NET8 activating enzyme. And basically, this is an enzyme that's involved in the process of protein ubiquitization and degradation of intracellular proteins through the proteasome. Pevonedistat blocks this enzyme and therefore leads to the accumulation of certain proteins that are important to trigger cell apoptosis and death, particularly in malignant cells. Pevonedistat is being evaluated in a number of different both solid tumors and hematologic malignancies. Of note, it has been studied in particular in high-risk MDS, CMML, and low blast AML, and this is a study that's being updated at ASH this year. And then in this particular study, we're evaluating the context of patients with newly diagnosed AML. So, we've made some important progress in the treatment of patients, older patients with AML, particularly with the addition of Venetoclax to regimens. So, for example, outcomes really were poor with azacitidine or decitabine alone, and now with the addition of Venetoclax, we've seen significant improvements in overall survival, but the outcomes are still not optimal for these patients. And so Pevonedistat is now being studied in this context, in this particular study in combination with azacitidine and Venetoclax. And there's some data that exists that Pevonedistat is a very active drug in patients with myeloid malignancies. And I think importantly, the data suggests that Pevonedistat is not myelosuppressive. And this is important because one of the limiting factors to adding additional drugs on to the azacitidine Venetoclax backbone, which is now really standard of care for these patients, is the fact that that is already a very myelosuppressive regimen. So I think that makes the addition of Pevonedistat particularly